survive. So if in our country the Hindus were united, Muslims will accept uniform civil code. They will accept anything that you want to tell them. That is their frame of mind. You see in Kashmir, they are in majority, what they have done to our Pandits. Is there any other place in the world where 5 lakh people of your own country have become refugees? It's only in Hindustan. Go to Malappuram. Malappuram, no Hindu can sell property to another Hindu or another non-Muslim. He has to sell it to the Muslim. If you can't find a Muslim buyer, they will find it for you, the municipality. They won't let you address meetings there in the name of Hindu saints. They came to me and told me, I said, you arrange my meeting, they will agree. And sure enough, they applied and they given. I was given permission, I addressed the meeting. Then I asked the organizers, how did they agree? Tell me. He said, we went to the municipal chairman. He said, no, Swami will agree. Why? Because otherwise you'll go to court and get an order. So why this bother? Let him come, he'll come and go, and then after that, all forgotten. So I'm saying, I'm not blaming the Muslim for this. I'm saying his mind is clear. I'm blaming the Hindus because their mind is not clear. All the time confused and this and that and looking at shades of grey. We have an existential problem. And therefore, let me say, to conclude this particular part, we now must resolve that we will pay any price to fight terrorism. We must resolve that we shall seek friendships and make adjustments so that the enemy is identified. See World War II, Churchill hated the communists. Stalin hated Churchill. But the two came together. Why? Because Hitler was an existential problem. No one would survive if Hitler succeeded. So they came together. If terrorism survives, succeeds, then none of us is going to live. And therefore, for terrorism, we must learn to make friends who have the same problem. And I say, United States certainly, because of its technology, information, etc. But remember, United States can dump you at any time when the cost-benefit analysis changes. Generally, the rule is if more than 10 American soldiers die a week for 1 month, the Americans will pack up and leave. So we can take help of the Americans in terms of technological support. But the two people who matter most for India is Israel, because for them it's an existential problem. We have the manpower, they don't have the manpower. They have the technology, we don't have that kind of technology. So two are natural friends. We have no common border. We have no issues. They're grateful to us for having looked after them for centuries. So Israel is a natural friend. And we must make this friendship good. I'm happy. The Home Minister has just gone there and come back. Their Prime Minister is coming to India. Their President is also going to come to India. Narendra Modi is going to go to Israel. We have made also friends with Sri Lanka. We also made friends with Sri Lanka. I've got huge amount of abuses, you see. I've been getting abuses whenever I take a stand which is this fanatic Tamil stand. Even on Kaveri, I once said, why you need Kaveri water? You got the ocean there, desalinate water and pump it in the opposite way of Kaveri river and send some water to Karnataka also. Oh, this is anti-Tamil, Tamil Drohi and all that. But ultimately they have come around to the view that now Tamil Nadu must generate its water supply from the ocean and some projects are being planned. Same thing on Sri Lanka. I mean, the Sri Lankan Tamils tell you, please stay away, you have caused enough problems for us. But then Prabhakaran's $4 billion is floating around. So a lot of people's appetite has been raised, you see. So they go demonstrating. Hardly 20 people will be there, but the media will say all over Tamil Nadu flames are there. The media will take over the rest. Same reason. Media managed. Recently, Arnab Goswami called me for a... And the intelligence bureau friend of mine tipped me off that this is going to be a setup, be careful. So why? He says, because you have managed to persuade the Sri Lankan president to send these convicts back to Indian jails, because we have a bilateral treaty. There's some Indian is convicted in Sri Lanka, he can be transferred to an Indian jail and then he can appeal here to our higher courts. So he's going to make you look bad. And can you believe it that Mr. Arnab Goswami tells me, I believe you have written a letter to Rajapaksa asking that the 5 Tamils should be hanged. I said, I never wrote any such letter. No, I have the letter here before me. I said, read it. You won't read. So I said, read it. You won't read. So then I called him a liar. But it didn't affect him. Then I called him a moron. Then I called him mentally retarded. Then I gave up. Any case, this is the problem with our media today. So the media goes on creating what is not in our national interest. So I would say, therefore, we have a major problem coming up on terrorism because of ISIS. They have infected sections here. You have this Akbaruddin Owaisi. I mean, the kinds of things he says. He says, I'll cook cow meat for you and the Hindus will love it. He says horrible things about Sita and Rama. But nothing happens to him because the Telangana Samiti needs his vote. We can't have this kind of debilitation in our country. And therefore, the assertion must come, and that assertion will come when we know the true history of India. And therefore, your identity and your true history is what you need. And be ready. And make friends. Sri Lanka is a natural friend. Now it has become a very good friend. The Prime Minister is going there very soon. And now that the fishermen problem is solved, there's a change in Tamil Nadu also. People have started booing these people. But Sri Lanka has the whole Indian Ocean before. You're afraid of the Chinese? Make friends with the Indonesian and sit on either side of the Malacca Strait and tell the Chinese that no boat of yours will pass through that without our permission. The Chinese will understand that language. Because 90% of their freight traffic passes through the Malacca Strait. But China, I believe, can be friendly. It can accede to your demands. When Morarji Desai was Prime Minister, he asked me, can you thaw our relations with China? I said, yes, but you will have to prove to them that you're not a camp follower of the Soviet Union, which is presently their enemy. He said, you give them my message. I said, you give it to me in writing. I'll take it to them. I took it to them. Then before going to Beijing, I told Morarji Bhai, I'm also going to ask them to reopen the door to Kailash Mansarovar. He said, don't be mad, they are communists, they'll never agree, and you will spoil everything. I said, I'm going to do it, because Lord Shiva is someone we can't keep doors locked for. He said, all right. I went there, argued with them, they reopened Kailash Mansarovar, and I went there first. Narendra Modi felt that, so many people can't walk all the way there. So now he has negotiated with the Chinese that from Sikkim you can drive to Kailash Mansarovar. That will start from next year. It's possible, but you don't have to be weak. Do you see Narendra Modi being weak? He's telling the Chinese, no, no, not acceptable, your border incursions. He's saying it on his face, on their face. They understand that. We have made friends with Vietnam, which is not friendly to China. We made friends with Japan, which is not friendly to China. We have not hesitated. So, I'm not saying make friends with China and then say Hindi Chini bye bye like Jawaharlal Nehru said. You deal with them on you build your own capacity. I must say today to you, today we have got a defense minister you will be justifiably proud of. So that brings me to my second topic, that is of corruption. What is corruption? It is an abuse of an entrustment. If I am a minister or a civil servant, I am being entrusted with the nation's property. And when I abuse it and criminally misappropriate it and enable somebody to earn or yourself earn in the process, which is not in the public interest, then that is corruption. And what does corruption do? It alters everything. Police will be different people if you pay them. Almost the entire society becomes corrupted. And it goes on and on, it's like a cancer. What do most of the politicians who get the money do? A portion of it they keep in the country and buy real estate. Real estate prices go up. Ordinary middle class cannot afford an apartment anymore. So artificial rise in prices because of black money. The economy may go down, but the real estate prices will keep on going up because there is regular supply of black money. But the other portion is sent abroad. How is it sent abroad? By Hawala agents. What do Hawala agents do? They take the rupees and keep it here, fly to Dubai, and from there they will telephone their agent in Switzerland or in Cayman Island or in Virgin Islands and so on, all these places where there's secret banking, and then say, please deposit so much in dollars in account number so and so number wise. And if anybody from there wants to come to India and wants rupees, I've got the rupees. He gives you the dollar and takes the rupees from me. Now I'm asking you to deposit dollars so that I can have a legitimate claim on the rupees. But in Dubai, no Hawala agent can do this operation unless he tells Dawood Ibrahim what he has done and the ISI, and they both are connected. Inform them. So the ISI knows which minister has where the bank account and what is the pass number. That's blackmail material. I've always wondered why UPA was so soft on Pakistan. It is because of this. They're terrified. And slowly money went abroad. And what is the total amount now for black money abroad? 120 lakh crores. What does that mean? It is 60 times the revenue from income tax. 2 lakhs crore is the revenue from income tax. And this is 60 times. You can abolish it, income tax. For 60 years you have no problem if this money comes back. Can it come back? I'll tell you how it can come back. And why it has not been done so far. Same thing with licenses. Mr. Chidambaram thought he was going to escape, but now he is also going in with Raja. But one thing good about Chidambaram's case is that his wife and son will also go for different reasons. Wife because of this chit fund, and son because he is in enormous amount of corruption in 1,000 other things. Chidambaram, you may have seen in the Times of India, is now being called to the CBI headquarters to explain how two things have happened, how that happened. One is an Indian telecom company called Aircel sold 100% of its shares to a Malaysian company called Maxis. That was illegal. Why? Because only 74% of the shares can be sold. That's a government law. How did Chidambaram bypass it? He bypassed it the usual way. The law says 74% can be bought by a foreign company, but 26% must remain with an Indian company. The owner of the Indian company who had 100% before he sold, some fellow called Shivashankar, Chidambaram said, no, you can't. You have to give 100%. But an Indian partner, a lady who knows nothing about telecom, she created a company and she purchased 26% of the remaining shares. And where did she find the money for it? The 74% purchaser, Maxis, gave her the money to buy it. That means you are cheating. You are indirectly enabling a foreign company to own 100% of shares. And Chidambaram, as Foreign Investment Promotion Board boss, signs it and says it's okay. Definitely go to jail. Similarly, 2G spectrum scam. What is the scam?